So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Sawyer's here with me. He's in the little box over here. I don't know if you can see, or is my chair in the way? I'll just push that out of the way just a little bit. There, now you can see I have a good view of Sawyer. So like I said, if you didn't hear me, feel free to sit in a chair or sit on the floor, but I'm going to just show you, this is my thing. I've watched a lot of Zoom classes lately, and I'm really paying attention to what yoga teachers are saying and teaching, and it's not enough to say sit comfortably. And so I really want this focus on the pelvis needs to do this. If you can see that, the top part of the pelvis needs to move forward. This is the sacrum back here, this bone right here in the center of the pelvis, and it's not meant to be vertical and it's not meant to be backwards. So it needs to come in and up. So the pelvis tips forward. That gives way to the low back curve, then the upper back curve, then another secondary curve of the neck, and then the back of the head. So these curves are essential to health for the rest of your life. And whatever it takes, get your hips high enough so that that happens with ease. So even though I'm sitting on a chair, I could still roll back like this. So I'm going to take a blanket and put it on the seat of my chair. And now my knees drop a little bit lower than my hips, so I'm much taller. I'm taller, but I also have that tip forward with more ease. So find that. I realized I'm looking the wrong way. So find that and then get comfortable. So getting comfortable means placing your feet where there's an ease to it. Feet underneath your knees, or cross-legged, or kneeling. Any of those options are possibilities for sure. I'm not going to lean on the back of my chair because I want to be able to stay lifted. So if you need to use the back of the chair because of shoulders, put a pillow, something in here that helps to reinforce that curve in the low back, that helps to push the pelvis forward from at the top. And then where you place your hands, that's something of comfort. Palms down or palms up. And then get a sense of where your head is in space. Is it balanced right on top of the center of your pelvis? We want to be sitting on the two bony protrusions at the bottom of the pelvis that we often call sit bones. And when we sit there, we know we are balancing on the bones of the pelvis. We know the pelvis is in an optimal position to allow the spine to do its thing in an optimal position. And then it goes further than that. Then we have the ability to breathe with ease. So close your eyes if you're okay with closing your eyes, and tune into your alignment. How are you sitting today? How are you breathing today? Would you say there's ease to this experience in this moment? Not everything in life is going to have ease to it. And we may be experiencing challenges through this time, especially. But these things that are happening around us, are part of a fluctuation, a flow of life. Beneath all of that, there is an abundance of everything. And we want to be able to tap into that deep reservoir of abundance to realize that everything is great, everything is fine. So this meditation to start is going to be about that, about abundance. So abundance is something that we create or negate depending on the state of mind. Your present state of abundance is the seed from which more can grow. When we notice what may be lacking in our life, we can tend to focus on the negative. And because of that, we might experience more lack. We don't have enough. If we can instead focus our attention on what is abundant about the situation, you can grow that feeling. You can feel where it's coming from. Abundance is not temporary. It is permanent. It is your natural state of mind which underlies everything you experience in the world. So as you breathe in and breathe out and feel the surface, to feel the movement of the body as you breathe in and breathe out, as you feel the air coming into your body and then leaving your body. For a moment, imagine where it's coming from. The breath begins outside of your body and comes in. You utilize whatever it is that's come in with the air. Prana is one of the things that we talk about in yoga, life energy. And then we get rid of what we don't need and send it back out. So where does it go? Tapping into this idea that there's this endless supply that is feeding us. It can really shift your perspective if you let it. We've not run out of air yet. Hopefully we don't. And we need air to breathe. We need air to be. For the next few moments, just watch. Watch the breath. Watch where it comes from. Watch where it goes to. And allow your perspective of life to shift. Your goal today is not necessarily to achieve anything, but simply to focus your awareness. As you focus, your mind can become more receptive. Your heart space can expand. And you can begin to invite more positive experiences or more positive views into your life. Whatever it is that you want to do or to achieve, whatever you want to have in your life, begins with a state of mind. And just take another few breaths here. And then begin to deepen and lengthen your breath. And with purpose, connect with the source of everything that you have, everything that you have ever experienced and will ever experience. Comes from a place of deep love and fullness. And it's always there. Slowly bring your breath back to a natural rhythm and allow your eyes to open. I often like to bow my head. Then I look down. As I slowly open my eyes, I can see this vision of my body. Take it in and see it as a manifestation of the abundance that's all around, within, that is everywhere. You wouldn't be here in the form you're in if there wasn't. See beauty. And then gradually lift your head back up. So wherever you're sitting, I invite you to bring your palms together in front of your heart. Interlace your fingers, turn your palms away from you, press out, and start to lift up. Elbows don't need to straighten, but I will ask you to be aware of what you're doing with your shoulders. We want to keep spacious. When we start to contract or get small in thinking and in muscular part of the body, it's very easy to think that you don't have an endless reservoir of energy and life and love to tap into. So we turn the palms up here, keeping space around the shoulders. Only go where you can go. If you have pain in your shoulders, stop before the pain. Find where it's the range of motion that will work for you. And then release, bring your arms back down. Releasing and then lifting arms again. Again, space without shrugging. Maybe you need to go a little bit wider. Maybe you want to bend your elbows a little bit more. Maybe you're able to go more arms in line with the sides of the body and feel more of a connection from your hips up through the sides of the body, armpits and arms up to your fingertips. One more breath here. And then exhale, bring your arms down. So even though I started with the arms, I want to go to more talking about the hips. So I'd like you to come up and sit in your chair. I'm going to turn sideways. And you might have a block, or you can fold a blanket. This might be high enough. I'm going to do a little bit bigger fold, a little bit higher, and move it to the edge of the chair. So moving it to the edge of the chair now means I'm not going to rely on the back. Not that I was, but I'm not even more going to rely on the back. And I'm kind of sitting forward. We'll start with a little bit of a seated sun salutation. Again, check in with the spine. Check in the position of your knees lower than your hips. So my hip creases are here. I've got this downward slope. And once settled, tune into the breath again. Let's find an action with the arms. Let's switch it up a little bit just so that we always don't go into the same patterns. I'd like you to inhale here and then exhale, lift your arms up. Inviting your abdominals to tone with the exhalation. Inhale, arms down. Exhale, arms up. A few times, inhale, arms down. Exhale, arms up. One more time on your own. Then we'll come again. Inhale, arms down, but this time as you come down, inhaling, keeping the front of the body long, slide forward on your thighs. Spine is long to the front. Pause here for a moment. Roll your shoulders back. Lift and lengthen your chest forward. Think of the chest kind of doing this loop, lifting forward and up. It's easy to get caught up in the head doing the action and not getting it in the chest. So head needs to stay in line with the spine. We might be so used to creasing at the back of the neck that it feels normal. So I'm going to ask you to come out of what feels normal and really tune in, find the awareness in the neck, in the cervical spine. One more breath here, wherever it is that you need to be, feeling, yeah, my spine is moving forward into my body. Then push into your legs and sit back up tall. Then we'll inhale here. Exhale, lift up. Inhale, come forward. Checking in with the head. Then exhale back into center. Inhale here. Exhale, lift up. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, hold. Keep pressing down into your thighs, but add in an action here of pulling back to see if you can get your chest to lift and reach forward a little bit further. It's not the head, it's not the chin. It's this rolling back of the shoulders to arc and open up to the front of the chest and move the upper back inward. So I'm going to add a change here. Press into your thighs, push back. This time, roll your pelvis back. I'm going to roll back and round. So we start to get a little bit of a movement through the low back. Then inhale, come back up to sit. Exhale, lift your arms up. Inhale, come down. Exhale, roll back. Inhale, back up to sit. One more time, exhale, arms up. You got to get out of your patterns, and this really asks you to focus a lot here. Roll back. I always do that with the breath. And then one more time. We'll do one more time. Exhale up. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And inhale up. Now forward bend. So now take your feet wide. Let's lean forward the same way we did, but bring your forearms down to your thighs. As you lean forward, we still want to keep this length through the front of the body, but now I want to roll the back of my pelvis back. Not to sit behind my sit bones, but to create more length in my low back. So from here to here, I'm creating more length. I'm also feeling a little bit more tone in my abdomen. So I wanted to have a focus on hips today, and this is the back of the hips opening up, front of the hips contracting. Because I feel like hips contain the secret to life. We can feel so stuck in life if we are lacking in ability to move in the pelvis. We'll take just a few more here, a few more breaths. Keep the length, keep rolling back here, keep the length in the front of the body. It's possible that you might start to come forward more. But the moment you lift up through the back, so sit bones need to stay down, or overemphasize a rounding in the upper back, I'd like you to go back to where you feel more balanced and even through the back of the body. And similar to what I had said before about your head lifting up, increasing the back of the neck, if your head drops down too far, it doesn't line up with the arc of the body, the spine. So be where you need to be for a couple more breaths. So by unlocking the movement in the pelvis and the hips, I feel we can tap into this idea that there is more abundance than we think there is. We're releasing the low back. We're releasing the back of the pelvis. It's a lengthening action from the top of your waistband down to your sit bones and a little bit up towards your mid-back. Last breath here. Yeah, Al, maybe just sit up a little bit higher. There's a little bit of shrugging, so lift up and keep your collarbones wide. Yeah, nice. Then bring your hands back to your thighs, press down and lift up. So now we're on this extra height. I'm going to ask you to bring your feet just a little bit closer, not as wide as your mat, maybe about the same width as your hips. Lean forward, use your hands on the chair, push yourself off the chair and come and stand up. Don't get too comfortable here. We're going back down. Bend your knees. Look at your feet, first of all. Look at your feet and make sure that your knees are pointing in the same direction as the center of your ankle and towards the base of your second toe. I say the base because if you look, some people have the tips of the second toe kind of going in different directions. So if you kind of draw lines from the center of the ankle to the base of the second toe, you've got a guideline for your knees. Not going to go in and they're not going to go out. So now your knees right over the center. That's good. Eyes. Find a chair. You can reach back to the chair and have a seat. That was the easy one. Let's do it again. Lean forward. You can push off with your hands, tracking your knees, standing up. Lean back or lean forward. Sit bones lean back. You can reach for the chair and sit back. We'll do one more like that in your own time. Find whichever breath serves you. I mixed up the breathing pattern in the first part so that you could see there's always options. When you know you have an abundance, one more. When you know you have an abundance, you can see there are endless possibilities of the way things can unfold. Okay, so now walk your feet a little bit closer to you, still in the same direction, but walk them closer so we're flexing at the ankles a little bit more. We want to have a little bit more leverage that's closer to us. You want to be able to keep your heels down on the floor. So if the heels lift up, walk them back out. We still want to have the knees lining up with the center of the ankle and towards the base of the second toe. So now we're not going to use the hands on the chair. Take your hands to your outer hips, lean forward, press down into your feet, keeping the space between the knees, lift up. Now, it seems like a knee class now and a quadricep class, but it's all connected. We're using our hip flexors. Come sit back down. You have to trust that the chair is there. You came off of it, so you're going to go back onto it. Is this yoga or learning how to stand up and sit down from a chair? Keep your legs tracking, knees tracking over the center of the ankle. Okay, one more time. Warming up through the hip flexors. I'm going to add something in this one now. Lean forward, lift up, stand straight up, shift your weight to your left foot, and pick up your right foot off the ground. You might need a wall or a second chair, and lift your leg up as high as you're able to lift without changing the alignment of the standing leg. So now we're asking the hip flexors, the muscles of the front of the hip joint, to engage here. Step your foot back down. You can look to see, step it so it's in the same position as it was, and then sit back down. Here we go again. Press down, lift up. Shift your weight over to your right foot. Lift your left leg up. It's tempting also to lift this hip out up to the side like this, but we want to really just focus on this kind of an alignment so that the pelvis stays level. Come back down. We'll do this a few times. Lift and lift. When you are feeling the rhythm of the movement, maybe just come down and tap your sit bones on the chair and come right back up again. If you find it's too much, you can always take out the lifting of the leg. So we're working on a lot of different things here with a pretty simple movement. We're strengthening the quadriceps. We're working the muscles of the back and the front of the hip, as well as the sides of the hip. So the muscles on the sides of the hip, the buttocks, those are the gluteus muscles. Also, piriformis is a muscle that goes from the center of the pelvis to the outer hip. Also a muscle that is like a stabilizer. We'll do one more on each side. I'm on my right, but you can finish on whichever side you want to. We're asking the body to find an equilibrium too, and then we'll sit back down. Find where the chair is. and then hover just above it. We'll add in the arms. Now bring your arms, find what perpendicular to your body looks like. So I'm not asking you to do this, I'm asking you to find perpendicular. Reach them forward as you reach your sit bones back. This is for Claire for her skiing. For 3 breaths. If you need to come out sooner or come up higher, do what you need to do. Everybody looks great here. I'm going to encourage you for the last breath or so to find a way to tone your low belly. Low belly below your belly button moves in and lifts up. And then sit back. Okay, awesome job, everybody. Anybody have any questions? We're good? Okay, so watch how I go here. I'm turning to my left. You can keep your chair where it is. Turn to your left so that the back of the chair is on your left side. Your left thigh sits on the chair, but your right sit bone does not. The whole right thigh is off the chair. We're going to take it back behind us. Take your right leg back and check to see. You can see on my legs wandering out to the side. I want it to go straight back. Does not have to be straight, but we're moving it back. And I want to balance my pelvis. So I want to try to engage my core a little bit here and shift more to the right. Just kind of use the chair as a bit of a help, a guideline. Because if I lean here, I'm kind of missing a lot of what I could be doing in this pose. So I want to be here. Make sure you have enough support, you're high enough that you have enough support and leverage through the front foot. If your sit bone is lower than your knee, you're going to have a hard time doing this next thing. So now we're opening up to the front of the hip on the right, and we're opening up to the back of the hip on the left. Inhale and lift your right arm up. It can be wide, whatever you needed to do at the beginning, or if you've changed it in your body, go where you need it to be. Then push down in both feet, lift up off the chair. Sit back down. 2 more times like that. Lift up and sit back down. See if you can do it without leaning onto the chair as you come up and down. 1 more time, we're going to lift up and hold it. Up and hold it. Now, back heel is lifted up. Slowly start to bend your back knee a little bit. Be mindful as to the sensation you're feeling in your knee. Keep your pelvis upright like it is. So I talked before, it's not exactly upright. We want to have it be in this neutral position. Keep that. Slowly move your back leg towards straight. Then you'll start to feel more of a resistance, more of a stretch to the front of the right hip. And then sit back down. Bring your leg forward. Press down into the floor and stand up. And let's just check in and notice, what does that feel like? Close your eyes for a moment. Tune into the sensations. Tune into a feeling of, I want to use the word freedom, but I'm just going to come back to abundance, space. In your pelvis, where do you feel releasing? Where do you feel a sense that you have a little bit more freedom? So we might not be there where we need to be yet, but it's a work in progress. So now, so that you can still face me, I'm going to have you adjust your chair where you need it. I'm going to turn my chair completely this way. It's the same thing, but on the second side. I just want to be able to face forward. Sit back onto the chair, this time with the right side. Feel free as you're switching, if you have any questions, you can unmute and ask me anything. I hopefully can answer it, and if not, I'll say I'll get back to you. Okay, so now again, we want to find how we're balanced. Can you be more sitting on the right leg and find that little bit more of a sense, I've got to tone, my body's going to respond and tone with my core, I'm not going to fall off the chair. Then take your left foot back, or left leg back, wherever it needs to be, but in line with your body as opposed to being out to the side. Do you need more height to have leverage to press down into both feet? I'm balanced through my pelvis. I'm lifting up. It's an elevator taking you up and taking you back down. And taking you back up. So one of the equations that I offer often is when you have open and freedom in your hips and you have strength in your ankles, your knees will be happy. So yeah, we're working the muscles in between the ankles and the hips, around the knees, not by accident. If you have tighter hips, more restriction in the hips, let's do one more and hold it, and your ankles are weak, your knees will not be happy. So we'll hold this. Find your pelvis in this neutral position. It's not completely vertical. It's tipped forward slightly like you were doing when you were sitting. Then bend your back knee, keeping that. Hands here. I like to use my hands here just to guide it, so I'm not going to tip forward more. What's probably going to happen as you start to straighten your back leg is the pelvis will tip forward more. We want to keep it right where it is and slowly move your leg towards straight without lifting any higher. And I say towards because it's a direction, not a destination. You don't have to get your legs straight. You're looking for an opening, a releasing through here. Left arm can come up and we can continue that lengthening of the fascia that will release the muscles. Let's see if we can stay here for a couple more breaths. Come down if you need to. Support yourself if you need to. And then slowly sit back down. Yeah. Then come up, stand again. Let's look and see. What have we done? So we've had movement of hip flexion, and we've had a lengthening through the back of the body. Now hip extension is a different story. I'm going to keep my chair here, but turn it around. So you can turn your chair around and have it at the front of the mat. Right foot will go forward, left foot will go back. We'll do a little bit of calf raises first. So lift up on your left heel and then not just put your heel down, but try to stretch the whole sole of your foot back towards the floor and lift up and back. So we're deepening the flexion in the ankle joint. But we're also lengthening and shortening the calf muscles and the muscles of the front of the shin. So we're not quite to extension. You can see if you look at the line of my leg to my body, my leg is going a little bit beyond the line of my body. We'll do one more, and then we'll hold. We'll hold so that we lengthen and open up through the back of the ankle, open up a little bit through the front of the left hip, push down into your right big toe base. As you push down, also push forward. So if you're trying to slide your mat forward with the base of your big toe, the ball of your foot. As that goes that way, your outer right hip goes back. It goes back this way. Then you can start to lean forward. So we take a little bit more opening through the back of the right hip. You can always come to the sides of the chair. Rest your chin on the back of the chair, depending on how tall your chair is. And then we'll bend the front knee, climb back up. Slide your right foot back about a foot length. Then put your weight totally into the right foot, working the big toe base as well as your outer heel into the floor, and lean forward on your chair. Straighten up, so as you lean forward, your left leg lifts off the floor. Then straighten your right leg. Now we're starting to move into hip extension. Tap your toe down to the floor of your left foot. Big toe can tap down. Keeping your body in this position, not letting your pelvis tip forward. Lift your leg back up again. So we're starting to strengthen the muscles at the back of the pelvis, the gluteus maximus in particular, but the medius and minimus as well. So I want you to look at my spine and my upper body or my whole body and see that I'm not tipping with my leg. I am keeping my body where it is and lifting. There is a tendency for two things to happen in the back leg. The knee starts to bend because then it feels like you're going further. So pay attention to your knee and say no to the knee bend. Also, as you lift up, if it reaches its maximum, you want to feel like you're going further, the leg starts to turn outward. So we want to just go with this straight back action. If you're starting to feel it in your buttocks, you're in the right neighborhood. Last one and hold. Reach out like you're trying to touch the back of the mat with your toes. For 2 breaths, reach your leg back behind you. Find again how to tone through your low belly. So low belly below your belly button moves inward and lift it up. Then bend your front knee, step back onto your back foot. Bring the whole heel down so your whole left foot turns out to the side. So now you're stable on 2 feet. Push your feet down and away from each other to come off your chair. Inhale, you lift up. So now we've got engagement of the back hip again, the outer hip. We're in extension in the back leg, and now we're getting the stretch through the front of the hip flexors. Take 2 breaths here, putting your arms where you need them so that you're not compromising anything, and you feel like you're a conduit to draw in all of the abundance around you. Because when you feel abundant, you are going to share that with others. It's hard to share if you feel a sense of scarcity. And then reach forward, step forward. Notice, come into Tadasana and notice, how do you feel? You know what? I feel my knees feel pretty good. They feel spacious. My ankles feel pretty spacious. I feel my low back feels more open. We're going to go something symmetrical in between. So step back. It's a forward bend. You can stay high. You can also bring your hands down to blocks if you have them. I'm not leaning forward onto my chair. It looks like I am, but I don't want you to. I want you to shift your weight back so you get a sense of being fully connected with the soles of the feet. Big toe base and outer heel. I'm going to bend my knees again. I want to make sure that when I bend them, they're going in line with the center of the ankle and the base of the second toe. Then from there, I might start to feel some resistance, some sense of stretch in the back of the thighs. Play a little bit with what does it feel like to move towards straightening your legs and then bending. We want to maintain a nice long neutral spine through this. So we're not going to round. Yeah. We also don't want to drop everything down and have the shoulders be at risk. So be up a little bit higher here if you're using a chair. If you're on the floor using blocks, by all means, explore your range of motion. I don't want to limit you by using the chair. But again, you're looking for a length in the whole front of the body. So 2 more breaths here. So Susan, do you have blocks you can go on? Just for a little bit more lift. I think you'll get a little bit more evenness through your spine. Yeah. Watch that you're not dropping your head too much. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, awesome. Okay. Then press down, slowly lift back up. We have another side to do, and then we're winding down. So your left foot comes forward. I'm going to switch to the other side. Sawyer enjoyed having me over there. Left foot forward. We do the heel, calf raises, lift up. Oh, now I can't see you, so I'm not. Press back. And it's not just dropping the heel to the floor. Imagine you are able to stretch the whole sole of the foot. There's fascia along the bottom of the foot that connects from the big toe through the first few toes, through back to the heel and up through the Achilles tendon. The fascia is all connected. The whole body is connected through these pockets of tissue, kind of like honeycomb or sections of a grapefruit. Pull back, deepen. Imagine also that there's a strap or a rope at the front of your ankle, and the front of your ankle is being pulled backwards. We're just going to access a little bit more ability to engage parts of the muscles and let go parts of the muscles if we can imagine things like that. Okay, last time, and we're going to hold the back heel back wherever you can manage. See if you can get it down to the floor, but forward if you need to. We'll pause. And notice the alignment you have with your body. The back leg is pretty much in line with your body. This is so awesome being able to see you. Okay, then slide. I think we did the forward bend here. So now keep your back foot down. Push into your left big toe base. So the ball of the foot. Connect that with a line that goes to your outer hip. As you push down, you pull back. Everything in yoga, whether it's physical asana practice or concepts, is always about finding equal and opposite directions to create something new. By pushing down and forward with the big toe base and by pulling back and up with the outer hip, we create tension, stretch through the leg in a way that will serve us. You can be here. You can stay higher. You okay, Al? Give me a thumbs up if you're okay. Okay, good. Okay, then come back up. Slide your left foot back. So we need a little bit of space to come forward. Put your foot back on the ground and start to put all your weight. Distribute it through your big toe. You want the four corners of the foot, but primarily the big toe base and the outer part of your heel, right here. That's where the bony part is. And then shift forward until your back leg can lift. Straight leg, line with the body. And then we lift the leg up, tap the toe down. Lift the leg up, tap the toe down. It's like ballet class. We're not leaning. We could, but try it to see. Try it to see. It changes it significantly. It's going to ask more of the standing leg. Both sets of hip stabilizers are working here, but you've got the added bonus of the gluteus maximus. If you feel you're too close to your chair, move away. You can adjust. We also want to check in. Am I arching my back every time I'm doing this? I want to stabilize here by toning and drawing in the low belly. So in and up. Another way to look at it or consider it is the two front hip points. You can draw those towards each other. That'll give you a sense of toning in your low belly. When you get really good and strong in the gluteus muscles, stability will be more prevalent in standing and walking, and ultimately more freedom, because other muscles won't have to compensate. Okay, and we'll hold on this last one. Get a sense that you're able to squeeze this buttock. So the muscle of the buttock runs this way, the fibers. You are shortening them up by lifting the leg up. If you're not sure, reach around and feel. Is that working? If you're not sure of the sensation of it, feel it on the outside with your hand to see what does that feel like. Okay, then slowly lower back down. Step wide again. We'll go into the standing forward bend or downward dog. Give you the option to go into downward dog without the chair if that's something that you're practicing. Now, I haven't really taught a lot about downward dog, but downward dog is really going to ask a lot of you. It wants you to belong to the spine before you do anything else. Okay, Sarah, I'm going to ask you to bend your legs a lot. Your whole spine. Yes, now push into your hands, Sarah, and push your sit bones back without straightening your legs. Push forward, down and forward with your hands. Yeah, now drop your head. That's it. That's what I'm looking for in the spine. Beautifully done. Yeah, so any variation, whether it's a forward bend or maybe even a child's pose or something that you can release from. I got one more thing I want to do for you. Then slowly make your way back up. We're going to come back to sitting on the chair. I was going to use something with the strap, but I'm changing my mind. I got to stick to an hour. It's hard. So when you sit on your chair, again, you're going to sit, you might need the pillow behind you, but we want this to move forward. Then walk your legs out. They're not going to be completely straight because I want you to have a little bit of a sense of lifting through the backs of the knees. But if you walk out, feet can come a little bit closer together, maybe 2 or 3 inches apart. Then lift up your right leg, cross at your ankle. You still want to maintain this alignment in the pelvis. Nothing changes in the hips. Start to slide your right foot up your leg. And if this is as far as it gets, this is as far as it gets. If you can go up beyond the knee and still maintain pelvis level, then you can go on up above the knee. So we'll pause here for a minute. If you feel like, oh no, now I'm starting to round back in my spine, then take your hands to the back of the chair or the seat of the chair and lift up. So you're going to stay open through the front of the body to get this sense of opening through the outer right hip. If you're still here and you're okay, but you're not necessarily feeling a stretch sensation through the right hip, Doug, you're looking good, then you can slide your left foot in a little bit more. Turn your shin downward. So we have to have this downward rotation to protect the knee. If it rolls up, we pinch on this side. We want it to roll down to stay open. We want to feel an abundance of space in the knee joint when we're doing this. Then, if this is still not feeling it in your hip, you're going to come forward. Wherever you are, you need to be where you are feeling the signs of resistance, but it's not so intense that you're waiting for me to tell you it's time to come out. So just watch, Sarah, I'm looking at your foot, and it's kind of doing this kind of a thing. Go more on your ankle, and I'm thinking maybe keep your leg further out. Yeah, that's awesome. Looks good, Vic. Be as unique in your position as you need it to be for you to get benefit. Another thing I see a lot of in yoga classes is that poses become these destinations that we have to get to, and it's not that at all. It's kind of like searching for abundance, not thinking we have enough when you have everything you need right here. Oh, I see some yellow finches behind me. It's the first I've seen them here. Inhale and come up. Lean back. Slide. So wherever you happen to be, if you're here, you're going to just squeeze the legs together. If you're above your knee, you're going to slide it over. And then hug your outer shins towards each other. They don't have to meet. They don't have to join. We're just doing an internal rotation. We did an external rotation with hip flexion. This is internal rotation. And lift. Yeah, nice, Doug. Nice lift. Check to see if you're compromising anything in your body by doing this lift. Ideally, I'd like you to be able to feel like you could be in any pose for 5 or 10 minutes, and it would be okay. How much effort, how much ease. Great options, lovely. And then we'll release, stretch the legs out. We'll come into a forward bend in a second. So legs can stretch out, lean back, lift up to the front of the body. You can even, I love this one, lean back until your upper back is on the back of the chair with your legs out. Bring your hands up behind your head. So we do an opening through the front of the body and lean back. Your upper back does this rolling over the top of the rung of the chair. You're in the comfort of your own home, and if you feel really safe and secure with your chair, you can push into your feet, and the front feet of the chair can move away from the floor. So this is a pose that is challenging if we don't use the chair, called Purvottanasana, Eastern stretch. The front of the body is considered the eastern side. I'm facing west, north though. And then slowly come back down. And then we'll go to the other side, sit back up. Almost straight legs, cross at the ankles, left foot coming over, slide up. Maybe it's a totally different story on this side. Being okay with the way things are and knowing that there is a deeper reservoir of energy and life and love that wants your hips to become more open. So see where you want to be. Pelvis, like the psoas is the main hip flexing muscle. So be where you need to be, and I'll just keep talking. So the psoas, the big hip flexor muscle that goes down the lumbar spine and then over the top of the pelvis and attaches to the upper inner thigh at the back. It's the muscle that reacts to life. It's the muscle that is so closely connected to the sympathetic nervous system, the side of the nervous system that's sympathetic to your fears. No pain in the knee here, no pain in the ankle, no pain in the hips. Be where it is a lovely feeling of massage. So because the psoas does this, it's so connected to the nervous system, it might be more contracted to keep you on alert. And it does two things. It flexes your hips, and it also extends your low back. It's a long muscle. It almost works against itself. Slowly lift yourself back up. Anytime you need a little bit longer, feel free to stay in. Slide your leg down. Squeeze your outer shins towards each other. Wherever they happen to be, they do not have to touch. Then either lean back or lift up. We want to be mindful, though, when we're lifting up, that we're not just lifting the front ribs up. We want to lift the whole rib cage up. Internally rotating through the thighs. So one leg is pulling in, the bottom leg is turning in, and the top leg is holding it there by turning in. These are eagle legs, Garudasana. And then we'll release. We'll do one more Purvottanasana. Who doesn't do this if they're sitting at their computer for a long time? You can take your arms away too, and it'll ask a little bit more of the muscles of the front of the neck, which are absolutely needed to engage and tone. Longest coli is one of them. Longest, it's long muscle. So it's going to ask you to hold there. If you feel like it's a lot of work, it's because they're weak. It's okay to tone them. Muscles of the back of the neck are toning too in an elongated position. And then slowly come back, and we'll finish with a forward bend, taking feet wide again, lifting up pelvis tips forward first. Pause when you get to here. Roll your pelvis back down. Then feel the beautiful lengthening through the low back and back of the pelvis. I say beautiful because it feels so nice to me. There is room, possibly, for you to go further. You can go to the seat, the legs of the chair. But if you look at my spine, there's an evenness to it. This is not an evenness. And this will only be going where there's the weak spot, which is the opening in the upper back. So we want to feel like all the parts of the back body get to lengthen and open. Let me look. Nice. Nice, Christopher. Nice. Good choices, everybody. Lovely. Slowly make your way back up. And now it's time for Shavasana. So if there's any one thing that you want, anything that you feel you need as a transition pose, whether it's maybe it's child's pose or maybe you lay on your back and draw your legs in towards you and roll a little bit from side to side. Whatever it is that you need. Maybe you want to elevate your hips. Maybe you just want to stretch from fingertips to toes. Dim your lights. Keep meaning to say too, and I keep forgetting, because I don't have music on and I can't really do music and have you hear me, okay? It just doesn't work to have background music. Feel free to put on your own background yoga music. And then make your way into some kind of a pose where you can find rest, where you are completely comfortable. One of the best parts of doing practices like this is that you've got all the pillows, all the cushions, everything you could possibly want in your own house. You might not have bolsters and yoga blankets, but I don't think it matters. Find a level of comfort that serves you. And then tune back into your breath. You know, it's not that you haven't been observing the breath, but it's easy to lose sight of it when you start to move and get into the finer details and bringing your awareness to the body. So now we can have it as a reminder. Come back. I'm breathing. I'm alive. Oh yeah, where does that breath come from? Where does it go? I've heard it said that you can consider breathing as when you inhale, the universe is breathing into you. And then when you exhale, you are breathing into the universe. That says to me there's an abundance on both sides of that equation. Unhinge your jaw. Make any adjustments that you need to so that you feel a sense of freedom. When you can sense freedom, when the nervous system can sense freedom, there is a letting go. There's a movement into the parasympathetic side of the nervous system. Where there is no doubt in that experience that there's a deep reservoir of love. my voice. And begin to let my voice bring you to the surface from wherever deep place you've been able to drop to. It's really great practice to sink deep into that place where you know, oh my goodness, I have everything I need. Sink into it, come back to the surface, sink into it, come back to the surface. This comes back to that idea of pulsation and spanda. So if you want to stay lying here on your mat, feel free. You know, it's your house. You don't have to get up, but if you want to wiggle and stretch and shift your breath and come to sit, you can. That's what I've missed, seeing all the little flowers waking up. This has been a great experience to have my computer seeing you all today. I hope I can continue to do it that way. So whether you're lying down still or sitting, just bring an awareness to the center of your chest, to your heart space. If you're sitting, you can bring your palms together in front of your heart. If you're lying down, you can either place your hands on your body or just feel it. Feel that spaciousness. And set an intention to go forward, to let go of any limiting beliefs that you might have about not having enough. Trust in the greater, abundant universe. It will always provide for you. Thanks for coming. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.